Welcome to Bree's Lip Service.
All right, welcome to Bree's Lip Service. Here we go. This is a reading of Excuse Me, Your Life is Waiting by Lynn Grabhorn. The dedication to every one of us who finally, maybe, possibly believes they have the right to perpetual happiness, beginning now. Introduction. For well over a decade, my passion has been a grand spiritual journey into what I call the physics of thought. Toward the end of a deeper knowledge of this somewhat outrageous topic might provide ways for all of us, myself in particular, to get more out of life. My studies have taken me everywhere from learned professors of physics to deep within esoteric sciences, from plain old medicine and just about everything in between, to the point where I decided I could call myself somewhat of a lay expert on the subject. The only problem was that, knowledge or no, getting more out of life wasn't happening, and it was beginning to tick me off. Something was missing, and I flat out couldn't put my finger on it. Naturally, with my vast knowledge on the subject, when I came across a new but provincial teaching from this unlettered, unscientific family of teachers, my first impulse was to poo-hoo the information because of their enormous oversimplification of what I considered to be a rather formidable topic. So it was more than a tad begrudgingly that I agreed to investigate this taped malarkey that a well-meaning friend had ungraciously shoved in my face. I flipped. Here I am, this learned student of thought, its magnetics, its propellant, its frequencies, its relation to emotion, its effect on our experience, etc. And these guys come along to nonchalantly provide in the simplest of form the missing pieces to life's obstacles that I was beginning to think didn't exist. Sort of like, pardon me, ma'am, might this be what you're looking for? So I dive into this information, ultimately hundreds of hours worth, and in 2 weeks I'm stunned. In 1 month, I'm flabbergasted. And in 90 days, there's such a turnaround in my life, I say, that's it. I gotta write about it so the rest of the world can flip along with me. Now, I grant you, there are probably 8.5 million books on the overworked subject of getting more out of life, but the utterly bizarre thing about these little-known principles are A, they are uncomplicated, B, they work fast, and C, they are guaranteed. And so, in my own prosaic words and style, I've reissued here the profoundly simple teachings from the Hicks family in Texas, spiced with my own angles and buzzwords, my own observations and experiences over the past years, and blended it together with my years of study. I unashamedly offer the finished product as the greatest missing link to life and living ever known to mankind, which means I've done this stuff, am still doing it, and will never stop doing it. Because by damn, it works. Chapter 1. How we got in this mess. How do we get what we get in life? Why do some people seem to have it all while others suffer so? Why did that bozo bump into you on the freeway? Why did that little child have to die so young? How come that guy got promoted and not you? Why can't everybody have prosperity and joy and security? In our everlasting search to find more happiness in life, we devour positive thinking books by the millions. But if those books truly hold the secret to an abundant, joyful life, why do we keep buying new ones? Oh, sure, there are a few that have come close to giving us the keys to that elusive good life, but no true winners. Our lives don't do a lot of changing. Maybe it was just the wrong book. We rationalize. Let's try another. Or another religion, or a different kind of meditation, or another teacher, or a psychic, or doctor, or relationship. We reach out anywhere and everywhere for relief from the tedium and struggle of daily living, yet the vast majority of us are still looking. How come? How come we've never learned the simple secret to living the good life, whatever that may represent to us? How come we continue to whack and scratch like frantic mad dogs to get what we want, when all along the key to obtaining our innermost desires has been as elemental as life itself? If you really think that things come to you by some stroke of good or bad luck, or by accident or coincidence, or by knocking your brains out against some very unsympathetic stone walls, then get a grip. This book could be dangerous to your discontent. Slugger Jessie. Years ago, long before I had ever heard about the law of attraction, my friend Mindy insisted I go with her to see a little league game. Her son played left field, but that's not why she wanted me to go with her. The size of the weekend crowd surprised me. You'd have thought Babe Ruth himself was reincarnating for a guest appearance. But question her as I might, no amount of prodding could cut loose Mindy's little intrigue, so what the heck? I went along with it. Her son came up to bat and struck out. Our side got 2 hits, but no runs before the side was retired. Then came the other guys. You couldn't help but feel the crowd's excitement. A couple of young bulldogs strolled to the plate and promptly struck out, thanks to our team's terrific pitcher. Now it was Jesse's turn, and the cheers began from both sides. Jesse was small, really small. His bat seemed longer than he was. He stepped up to the plate with unceremonious confidence and proceeded to hit the very first ball so far over the bushes that they never did find it. I was flabbergasted. The crowd went ballistic, and Mindy looked at me and winked. This impossible scenario repeated itself 4 more times. Little Slugger Jessie was a sensation, a phenomenon in the flesh. And with the research I was doing on the physics of manifesting, I damn sure wanted to find out what made this little half-pint tick, just as Mindy knew I would. When most of the backslapping was over, I wedged my way up to him through the crowd and asked if we could sit down and talk for a minute. When we reached the top of the bleachers, I said, "Jesse, how do you do that? How do you hit so many home runs?" "I don't know," he offered innocently, waving a casual goodbye to some of his teammates. "Each time I get up to bat, I just feel what it's going to be like to connect, and I do." Although I didn't know it at the time, Jesse had just described the fundamental principle of manifestation known as the law of attraction, the physics that creates every moment of our day. Today, Jess lives in style with a lovely wife, 2 great kids, a house of collectibles from their worldly travels, and a computer from which he makes copious amounts of dollars managing his investments. He passed over baseball as a career because he wanted to be his own boss on his own time. How has he become so successful? Same way he hit that ball, by feeling, not by thought alone, by feeling. Human condition, my foot. Didn't it ever strike you as bizarre that our lives should be so tough when we're all so brilliant? Here we are, this hugely intelligent species that can split atoms, fly to the moon, and create the Flintstones, yet we're all running around, blowing each other up, having heart attacks, or starving to death. It makes no sense. How did we get into this mess? Or is it just the so-called human condition? It all began uncountable eons ago with the first untrue declarations from those who desired power, who proclaimed that our lives revolved around and were the result of circumstances over which we had no control, including being dominated by others. Since that's what everybody has believed for untold eons, that's what we still believe to this day. And so, like our parents before us and theirs before them, all the way back for God knows how many thousands of years, we have struggled, whacked, strained, worried, and died long before our time for the all too unnecessary demands of living. We believed it to be the human condition, part of the unfortunate affliction we have come to call reality. But the human condition is a myth, and so, for that matter, is what we call reality. The truth is, in our everyday natural state, we have the sacred ability to maneuver this thing called our life, to be any way we want it to be, any way, bar nothing, from a happy family to a filled-in ozone layer. So why haven't the zillions of books written on how to have it all, how to think and get rich, how to visualize our way to success, and how to acquire power through positive thinking shown us to help ourselves out of this mess? Simple. Every one of those books left out the most important key of all time to life and living. We create by feeling, not by thought. That's right. We get what we get by the way we feel, not by trying to slug things into place or control our minds. Every car accident, job promotion, great or lousy lover, full or empty bank account comes to us by the most elemental law of physics: like attracts like. And since most of us haven't felt too hot about what we've had for most of our lives, we've become highly gifted masters at attracting an overabundance of circumstances we rather not have. You want a new car? You got it. You want to work successfully for yourself? You got it. You want to close that deal, make more money, have a great relationship, live without fear, have a spiritual fulfilling life, have superb health, freedom, independence? You got it, if you know how to feel it into being. The law of attraction, like attracts like, is absolute and has nothing to do with personalities. No one lives beyond this law, for it is the law of the universe. It's just that we've never realized until recently that the law applies to us too. This is the law behind success or failure. It's what causes fender benders or fatalities. It is, to the point, what runs every waking moment of our lives. So if we want to turn our lives around, or bring in greater abundance or health or safety or happiness of any kind, we have only to learn the simple steps of manipulating our feelings. And a whole new world of plenty opens for the asking. We were taught backwards. Most of us haven't a clue how we get what we get in life. First, there's the long list of things we want and never get, nor ever hope to get. Then there's that even longer list of all the things we don't want, yet seem to get more of with disheartening regularity. No one's to blame for this ceaseless dream busting. We were just taught backwards. Probably the most destructive thinking we've been taught is that life is born of a series of circumstances served up to us on this gigantic platter called potluck or fate, starting always with the parents we were born to and the environment in which we grew up. If we were born rich, we got a lucky draw. If we were born poor, struggle would be our more common destiny. If we found happiness, it was by the cherished touch of Lady Luck. If some drunken idiot crashed into us on the freeway, it was rotten fate. We've been taught that we gain only as we labor, that action is the magic word. Do, work, 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 strive, sweat, toil. And then if our luck holds, we just might come out ahead. We've been taught by loving, misguided elders to be cautious and guarded. Don't climb that tree, honey, or you'll fall. Don't wear that silly thing or people will laugh. Don't forget to lock your doors or you'll be robbed. We've become such a defensive species. Our entire lives revolve around fearful credos of be careful, be cautious, be safe, and secure. Heaven forbid we should ever let that guard down. It's so crazy she says that. It's not crazy, but it's like, wow, it's just so true, you know? I just know that that's how I was taught, whether it's directly by my elders or the environment I grew up in. You know, I grew up in Philadelphia and very much, you keep your guard up at all times. You're always on the defense, and that has plagued me until now. I am still, breaking down that wall. But the greatest obstacle to living our potential comes from toddler days when we were trained to look for what's wrong with everything, with our jobs, our cars, our relationships, our clothes, our shapes, our health, our freeways, our planet, our faith, our entertainment, our children, our government, even our friends. Yet most of the world can't even agree about what right or wrong is. So we war and strike and demonstrate and make laws and go to psychiatrists. That's life, you say. We have to take the good with the bad, the ups with the downs. We have to be on guard, work hard, do things right, be watchful and hopeful for a break. Yes, that's the way life is. No, no, and no. That is simply not the way real life is. And it's time we faced up to how we actually do create what we have in our world, our empty or full bank accounts, our grand or boring jobs, our good fortune or bad, and everything else in this arena we so nonchalantly call reality. How do we do it? Don't laugh. It all comes from how we're vibrating. Look, Ma, I'm vibrating. Everything in this world is made of energy. You, me, the rock, the table, the blades of grass, and since energy is actually vibration, that means that everything that exists vibrates. Everything, including you and me. Modern-day physicists have finally come to agree that energy and matter are one and the same, which brings us back to where we started. That everything vibrates because everything, whether you can see it or not, is energy. Pure, pulsing, ever-flowing energy. But even though there's only one energy, it vibrates differently. Just like the sound that pours out of a musical instrument, some energy vibrates fast, such as high notes from high frequencies, and some vibrate slow, such as low notes from low frequencies. Unlike the tones from a musical instrument, however, the energy that flows out from us comes from our highly charged emotions to create highly charged electromagnetic wave patterns of energy, making us powerful but volatile, walking magnets. That's nice, but who cares? Well, if you want to know why you've had to struggle so hard with your life, you do. If you want to know how to change your life to be exactly the way you want it to be, you had darn well better care. Because the electromagnetic vibrations you send out every split second of every day are what have brought you and are continuing to bring everything into your life, big or small, good or bad, everything. No exceptions.